Okay, so yeah, our final Todd Rundgren review. Todd Rundgren. Todd Rundgren. I bet that's a very easy thing to say if you're American, but it's. I think it's a Brummy thing saying Todd Rundgren. Is that we just don't have that kind of diction.
Hmm.
It's like Thor's hammer is Mjolnir. 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 Anyway, yeah. So Deface the music. This is called Utopia. By this point, that doesn't mean anything. He just calls every other album either solo or Utopia. And it's parodies. Well, not parodies. They're in the style of Beatles songs, and I don't just mean some Beatles-esque songs. I mean stylistically, actively, actually mimicking specific familiar sounds of Beatles songs, which is it's a more difficult thing to do than I think maybe people would realise, to make it really sound just like it but not actually just be the songs. So you hear things and you think, is that song, is it that song? But it isn't any. It's like a couple of songs. One of the songs is like a couple of them, not specifically just that song, very difficult thing to do. So this is perfect because it's another thing he did. It's very much a guy who just does, as I said, he just does what he wants, and he very cleverly set it up so he could just he wasn't going to be pigeonholed doing the band and solo thing. He's just doing whatever it is he wants. So that's really good, and it is technically perfect in terms of the music. He's absolutely nailed it. But it only really works as a parody. I don't actually enjoy it in any other sense. I don't put it on and like the songs. And I think that making it close to Beatles tropes. That's the focus of it. That's what it's supposed to be doing. It's not to make good songs. And that doesn't make it the Beatles. If you take that out, you're left with something incredibly bland, and it's like something a record company will be pushing in the 80s or 90s. This is the next big thing, and then you never hear it again. It's that kind of thing. It sounds like 80s production, which is weird because it's only 1980. But I find that really distracting. It doesn't. So that stops it sounding like the Beatles as well. The other thing is he's not from Liverpool. He's definitely American, and that's in his voice. And I find that distracting as well. And that makes it sound again like 80s or 90s pop. These are the next. The Beatles were big, and they want to be as big as the Beatles. Let's listen to Oma Jemima. Yeah, on top of the pops. And it got to number 38 in the chart. That would so the music works for someone who wants to say, "Ha, look, it's the Beatles, the same." He's a fan of the Beatles, so that's not what he's doing. He's doing an exercise in what if I made an album that sounds just like the Beatles, and making songs that sound like the Beatles is not the Beatles. All that 90s stuff is supposed to sound like the Beatles, isn't it? That's the Oasis. That's the Beatles, the same. And it isn't, is it? It's not the Beatles. At least the Ruttles are funny. This isn't funny. So it sounds like that parody music, but it's not actually funny. And it would be, I think, if you just made some vaguely Beatles-esque music, like ELO or something, would be fantastic, and I'm sure he could do that very easily. But I think that's the problem, is that he would see it as pointless because he could do it so easily. This is an exercise in talent and technical know-how, musical skill. That's the point of the release. So, but it is a really, really interesting idea. Kudos for trying different things on different albums. This is another different thing. But I'm not going to listen to it again. I wouldn't have any reason to. And here's the album I didn't buy.
Largely pointless is what I thought. Um, you're right. I mean, to be honest with you, I never found the Ruttles that funny. But this isn't as funny as the Ruttles. Uh, uh, and therefore, it doesn't really qualify as a parody, as you say.
Yeah.
But then, so the question arises, is it a tribute? Well, it doesn't really come across as a tribute either. And if it was, it's not a very good one. I think the only thing you can say is pointless. Why?
Yeah.
Why? What? It's not clear what he's trying to achieve. He might have been a fan of the Beatles, but I didn't really. You could probably correct me here, but I never really got that influence on Utopia or his solo work prior to this.
Yeah, I'd agree. Not at all.
Yeah, so it's sort of like a complete left field sort of thing. If you're if you want to listen to something Beatles-esque, you may as well listen to a Beatles album.
Yeah.
There's nothing particularly interesting about it. There's nothing particularly good about it. It's like the music, the Beatles. I suppose you could say it's like Beatles music drained of the thing that made the Beatles curiously good. I watched a film the other day. Is it called Yesterday?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
That's on Netflix, and I thought it was slightly absurd, really, the way it was. Every song was amazing and obviously fantastically brilliant to anyone who listens to it, and he's tapped into something almost godlike. The Beatles just wrote cool little tunes, and this isn't that. So
this isn't that exactly. Yeah. So
why?
What's the point in that? Because you can exercise in. I can do this.
Yeah.
I did. I know a lot of people hated Yesterday. I thought I enjoyed it.
It was all right.
It did what it was meant to.
Yeah.
You knew what it was within seconds of the start of the film. You know what the film is, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe watch that rather than listen to this.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. No, I like the scene with what's his face, the ginger guy.
A Sheeran.
Yeah, and a songwriting competition. And
he writes Winding Road.
He writes the Long Winding Road. He's cheated.
Oh, you're just better than me, man.
Yeah, and when he's trying to play Let It Be to his parents, that's funny as well.
Yeah.
He's not even listening. Let it be, and they're not even listening. No one's ever heard it.
So that's what I thought of it, Kev. Not a lot.
Not a lot. Yeah, I think I'm on the same. Yeah, there isn't much to say about it. That's the thing, other than generally talk about parody music, which we've done. And that's it. And that's the end of Todd Rundgren, unfortunately. It's strangely that this week they're not going to hear it. You're not going to see this video this week, but the first release of a Zappa 88 full show came out, including the famous Beatles medley, which has never been officially released. There was only bootlegs of it, so that's cool. And those are definitely worth listening to, but for different reasons. I'm trying to remember the names of the songs. One of them is called Louisiana Hooker with Herpes. For Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. But I mean, that's a very different thing. They are the Beatles songs, and he just changed the words. I can't even find them. They're all about, televangelists and Republican politician-y type, It's Norwegian Wood, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, and Strawberry Fields Forever. I always got the impression it was never going to be released because they couldn't get the rights. Because cover versions are a weird thing in that you can release a cover version, but if you've changed it, you have to get permission.
Oh, right, okay.
So obviously, because he's changed the lyrics.
So does it? Presumably, they've still got to pay the Beatles.
Yeah. So either way, they get the money. But if they've changed it, you've got to have permission to do it.
That's interesting.
Or Texas medley. Okay, so there's Norwegian Wood, there's Norwegian Jim, which is about Jimmy Swaggart. Are they all about Jimmy Swaggart? They might be. Oh yeah, they are. Yeah. So Norwegian Jim and Louisiana Hooker with Herpes. Oh, and Strawberry Fields is a Texas motel, so it's just about that. References to Pat Robertson, Jerry Falwell, and Reagan, and all them. It's that
Blah
stuff
blah
again.
blah.
Yeah, but that's much more worth hearing than this. I think, to be honest, using great melodies for
Is
something
there
else.
anything to be said about this? That it was released in 1980, which is obviously a big year for Beatles things.
Yeah, that's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
I hadn't thought of that. Because honestly, I thought it was. I thought it was 82 for some reason. It's not. November 1980. Oh no. John Lennon was shot on the 8th of December. So after that was released, he was shot.
God, that was unfortunate timing.
So yeah, that's it. There's nothing to say about this album.
2 eggs for me, Kev.
Yeah, can you give 2 eggs to something so that achieves its aims so accurately?
That's the only reason it's getting 2 eggs and not 1 egg.
Yeah.
It's such a
Nothing. Yeah.
pointless endeavour.
Yeah, 2 eggs. Same for me.
Oh wow! I thought you were going to go 3.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. It's not 3. It's not 3 if you're never going to listen to. Not only you're not never going to listen to it again, you're not even interested in There you go. So that's Todd Rundgren. Listen to Face the Music by ELO, not Deface the Music by Todd Rundgren.
Yeah.
If you want Beatles-esque music, that's what you want. That's the aim with ELO was to carry on. What would the next album sound like? Not. This is what they sounded like. The first 6 songs are all mop-top songs, so obviously they're easier to do and less interesting. And then after that, Day Tripper is track 7 is a bit like Day Tripper, so transition-y. And after that, it sounds like the later stuff. So is more interesting. So what? Good for you. Thumbs up. Yeah, that's it. Thank you very much. Enjoy our next review of something we don't know.
Yeah. Okay. What are we going to review then?
I don't know.